Hello and welcome to the video for week 6. Sorry that it is like almost 5 o'clock and I'm just getting this out to you. But here we go, week 6. We're going to scroll down your module to week 6, Fantasy and Science Fiction Week. Okay, so this video will go on that first summary. As soon as I'm done uploading it, it will be published. Here's your reading link. Tells you the chapter. Here's the quiz for chapter 5. So that's a couple weeks back. What did we read last week? I'm kind of going out of order here, so I'm trying to keep track of which weeks we're reading what. Anyways, that's the quiz on chapter 5. So reviewing back through these quizzes is good long-term memory retention. These quizzes are a couple weeks old. It's actually on purpose, so you'll remember them. All right, this week our traditional literature focus is on Asian literature. So if you click here, you'll get the instructions for this. Got a couple of videos here. This is kind of like if I were there in person, I'd read these aloud to you. Instead, I've chosen some YouTube people to read them to you. You can use either of these two if you want to talk about in your slides about the Asian stories. I was having trouble finding very many, and I don't know, this is the first quarter I've done this focus, so I don't know if it's just me or it was like Saturday and I was working on this. I don't know, but if you want to use one of these two, you can. If you have some others, that would be fantastic. That way I'll know of more. I would love to hear of books I have not heard of yet. There were some questions in this one about if this could be Korean instead of Chinese. And I think that's possible, but I am so not an expert. So if someone knows that, that would be fantastic. They could let us know that also in their slideshow. Okay, so whatever you choose, please use chapter 7 for evaluating your books. It's the one that is appropriate for this genre. All right, okay, going back to our module. Remember that this is the same slideshow that you started at the beginning of the Traditional Tale project. You're just adding a slide or two each week. You'll be submitting it in a couple more weeks, not too much longer, actually. Okay, here's your reflection quiz. That's the same as all of them. How did I do? Did I meet the criteria? How could I improve? I love this. You guys are being really honest, and I love your feedback. If you said anything at all in your quiz from last week about where you felt like you weren't sure about the quality of your work or that you needed some help, I gave really specific feedback in the submission notes for your quiz, like for the grade. So go to your quiz and you'll read what I wrote to you specifically and personally and in private. But if you reply again to that, my computer doesn't tell me that you've done that. So I don't get a notification. I probably won't be scrolling through that anytime soon because I've got to move on to next week's posts. So if you want to like open the conversation beyond my comments to you, please email me, okay? Because I'll get that, and I would love to chat with you about anything you're having issues with on your posts. Okay, while we're talking about the posts, I was emailing a student with some feedback today, which is fantastic. I love it when you guys get a hold of me about ideas. And it was mentioned that in some previous courses, you've been told to give feedback to each other with a kind of a critical eye, you know, like what could be improved, which is a valid activity in a classroom, like private setting or inside a certain class's Canvas, because that is like our private class. In the blog, that is not at all what I'm looking for. In the blog, when I ask you to comment on your classmates' blog posts, I mean conversation about the literature only, not about the student, your co-students' quality of work, or even about their book choices. I mean like about the literature. Like I've read this book also, and I think it would be great with third graders, and we could do such and such activity, or you know, something specific to the literature, not to each other as students in the blog, because that's public, and we wouldn't do that in any other setting with blog, obviously, right? So just you know, positive and conversational conversations about the literature is what I'm looking for there, okay? But I better clear that up. I do think maybe this is the fantasy one. So I think on the realistic fiction one next week, I'll have you submit it to me again, like you did this week with poetry, so I can get to it inside SpeedGrader and see each one, and then I can make comments inside my grading, and you get that information, and it's not on the blog. I would never ever make any sort of critical student comment on your blog. Nobody would even know I'm your teacher on the blog. So if I'm making instructor type comments, that will happen through the grades only. But it might be fun to be able to give each other a little bit of critique on our blogs. So if we're going to do that, we'll do that inside a discussion board so it stays private inside Canvas. Still kind of kicking that around, okay? So I'm hoping we're clear, and I'll put that in an announcement as well. Only conversational type comments about the literature on each other's blogs, okay? And thank you, the student who brought to my attention that I should say that. Okay, moving on this week. Your field trip is due. Your write-up from your field trip is due. Hopefully you did that a long time ago and it's all ready to go. Okay, so DLTA is a whole project for this week. Not really it's a lesson, what it is. I mean, it sounds a little scary, and I put 4 links here about it, so hopefully you're not totally freaked out because there's 4 links. So you want to start here. If you click there, you're going to get another video of me walking you through the DLTA process, the directed listening thinking activity lesson. It can also be called DRTA, directed reading thinking and activity. It's a type of lesson. It can be a read aloud type lesson or an independent reading type lesson, and that's all explained in the slideshow and in the video. Here's an article about it. The link to the article takes you to kind of a commercial site where there's a bunch of ads and junk that I have trouble focusing through. So if you prefer, I cleaned it up. I copied and pasted the text, so you can use my version also. Okay, but right here is where you're actually going to submit it. This is the only part that's the assignment. All those other links are just for your help. I gave you the crowd thing again with the acronym for your questioning and all those instructions, same as last week. Crowd questions are exact same. They are the heart of a DLTA lesson. So I just stuck them back in there, but now that you've practiced crowd once, you won't have any trouble with this DLTA. This is the template for the lesson. Click on it, it'll tell you to type this here, type that here. Very easy if you read the instructions. This is another article. This one is where it calls it DRTA. Same thing, different name and different delivery. So when I say same thing, that's probably not the best wording there, because DRTA is for students reading and DLTA is for students listening to you read. So same format, different delivery. Okay, so here is this original document I was given from the literacy department for this class, for this lesson, but the formatting is terrible. If you want to wade through it, feel free. If you happen to know how to clean up a PDF and could do that and tell me how, or just, I don't mean you have to do it, I mean just tell me how to clean up that PDF, that'd be great. All right, so we're doing this instead of a midterm. There's no exam. This is just you submitting this lesson to me. No resubmissions, so I just need this sent in one time. There is a rubric right here. If you read the rubrics, they always give you more information about what we expect in the assignment. But this assignment, like I said previously, if you go back to modules, has its very own video. And it's like a 15-minute video. I went in depth through the instructions. I repeat myself a couple times in the video on purpose. So if you're trying to frantically take notes about what I've said, you don't really need to pause because likely I'm going to say it again. Right now I'm talking about this video right here, the LTA, that gives you information for doing this assignment right here that is due on the 17th of February. Okay, so this week you have a blog post and a quiz to do, right? Quiz right here, your slideshow to add, your blog post right here. Reading, but the quiz is not for this reading. So if you're a little behind and you need to put anything off at all, put this chapter reading off, but be sure you get right back to it at the first of next week. Okay, so that's what I have for this week. Checking my notes about announcements. I think that's everything. Please email me if you have any questions. I think I might stick a little survey type quiz up to see how everybody's doing. If I do like a check-in quiz, it's going to be like I'm keeping up, true or false, all of those kinds of questions. So even if you get marked wrong, because I'd want you to say true to keeping up, be honest and say false, I'll give you all the points for the quiz. It's going to be like a quiz acting as a survey, if that makes sense. If you fill it out, I can go back and give you the points. Anyways, I'm just curious how everybody's doing. Okay, sorry about the dogs making all that noise. Of course, somebody has to come through the door every time I'm recording a video, or it wouldn't be our class, right? That's what you're going to remember from this class, is my dogs. Okay, so I think that's everything.